Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm your host, FD for Search5.tv, and in this video, we want to look into Hyperliquid versus its centralized peers or rivals to see whether Hyperliquid can actually compete with centralized exchanges, like what some people are saying. Is there any substance in that? So we want to look at the numbers, consider some substance, then make a decision at the end. Is Hyperliquid actually on its path to surpass some of its centralized peers or rivals? That's what I want to cover in this video, guys. If you want to know that and much more, please keep watching, and if you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing to our channel. And this content is also not financial advice. If you do require financial advice, please approach someone who is actually trained to give you financial advice. This content is also not targeting UK audiences, so guys, if you are from the UK, you are not supposed to be watching this video. And I also believe any crypto related content, because the UK authorities do deem anything crypto related to be extremely risky for retail. You've been warned, don't partake within this space. That said, if you are from the rest of the world, welcome to our channel, Search5.tv. If you are not subscribed, guys, consider subscribing to our channel. We are one of the few smaller channels that bring you non-conventional content. You either like it or you don't like it. It's like mama. That said, let's come back to the subject matter of this video, where we are looking at Hyperliquid, which has been making headlines of late. And is it a serious challenger to centralized exchanges in the area of perpetual exchange services? And in this video, we are using some publicly available metrics from the likes of Coinbase and Binance exchanges to compare those to Hyperliquid's numbers. Which one of these three has been generating decent revenue based on its size, based on the metrics? Where do we see competition in this area going? That's what we want to explore in this video. So let's start with the key metrics first. Got Hyperliquid, which in May of 2025 achieved a revenue of about approximately 64.3 million, and it was ranked number one among tokenized protocols for the third consecutive month. And its May trading volume as well was around 244 billion in total. Daily average was about 8 billion plus. All-time highs 24-hour volume, you are talking of 21 to 22 billion over a 24-hour period. Open interest of about 4.7 billion. Daily protocol revenues, it was around 9.5 million average. And the token economics, revenue fund buybacks from the team of the Hype token, community airdrops of approximately 1 billion, and staking incentives. There is also no VC dilution. So you could say Hype, the protocol and the token, it's set up properly. There is no VC dilution. Moving on to Coinbase, Q1 2025 revenue, we are looking at a period of 3 months. Well, that's how these things are reported quarterly. So you're talking of 2 billion or a 24% year-on-year increase, though it missed the expected or estimated $2.1 billion of revenue during that period. Transaction volumes of about 1.3 billion, and that's a year-on-year increase of approximately 9%. And it gained $698 million in revenue from subscriptions and services. That's a 9% quarter-on-quarter increase, powered by stablecoin income. And its derivative growth, institutional trading volume was approximately $315 billion. Global derivatives was greater than 800 billion across platforms, and its users, 8.4 million users, which is up 1 million year-on-year increase. And over to Binance then, we are considering its 2023 revenue. I don't know why there's such a gap, but we are talking of 16.8 billion, which was in 2023, and that was a 40% year-on-year increase. Futures and perpetuals, 24-hour volume, approximately 46 billion per coin paprika information, and 68 billion previously cited. Open interest, 26 billion compared to Hyperliquid's 4.7 or 4.1 billion. Huge global user base from Binance. I think it's well over 29.5 million funded accounts. I could be wrong. Let's move on to the comparative analysis, where we are looking at the metric across these three: Hyperliquid, Coinbase, and Binance. Let's start with the monthly revenue across these three. You got 64 million average from Hyperliquid, Coinbase 667 million in Q1, which is averages also. If you divide that into months, you're looking at well over 200 million per month in revenue. And Binance, average monthly, based on 2023 figures, those numbers. So Binance, are we saying Binance hasn't published any information? They're talking of 1.4 billion monthly revenue. I think it's gone well above that now, because Binance is seeing a lot of activity at the moment. And perpetual volumes, they're talking about 244 billion per month or 8 billion per day for Hyperliquid. For Coinbase, it's per quarter, 800 billion derivatives per quarter. For Hyperliquid, it's punching above its weight, because it will be just under 800 billion, I think, based on this, just under. And Binance, 46 to 68 billion per day futures. So that's on perpetual volume. Open interest, Hyperliquid, average 4.7 billion. Coinbase, not reported. And Binance, 26 billion. Business model for Hyperliquid, it's fee, token buybacks, and rewards. For Coinbase, it's fee revenue and subscription plus derivative. For Binance, it's fee-based global centralized exchange. When it comes to regulation, Hyperliquid is fully on-chain and it's non-custodial. So based on the leading economy, which is the US, Hyperliquid will not even be regulated, I think, because it is decentralized. centralized. But the likes of Binance and Coinbase, they will be regulated. For example, Coinbase is US regulated and it expanded its services via derivative. And then Binance is a private global exchange, but it's also under scrutiny from across the globe, especially in the States and here in the UK as well, and across Europe. Let's look at some of the revenue and profitability quite closely then. So Binance leads in scale, 16.8 billion annually versus Coinbase's 8 billion, and Hyperliquid is 770 million per year at the moment anyway, because Hyperliquid, I don't think it has actually traded for over a year. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, guys, let me know in the comment section. But that volume is still well below the centralized exchanges at this moment in time. Hyperliquid, though smaller, boasts stronger revenue intensity per volume, which is 64 million from 244 billion trading versus Binance. So the volume intensity, using that ratio, Hyperliquid will be ahead, even though its revenue is not that much and the volume is not that much compared to the centralized entities. And as far as growth trajectory is concerned, Hyperliquid's meteoric rise demonstrates the power of combining SEX-like or centralized exchange-like user interface plus DeFi transparency. Coinbase is transitioning from spot dominance to derivatives via Coinbase acquiring Deribit or via its acquisition of Deribit, but remains capped by macro cycle. On the other end, you got Binance, which maintains dominance but faces regulatory headwinds outside jurisdictions like the US. Competitive advantages then. You got Hyperliquid's capital efficient, community aligned token model appeals to liquidity seekers and DeFi native traders, whereas Coinbase it relies on regulatory credibility, stablecoin integration, and institutional custody. What about Binance then? Binance is unmatched in scale, variety, and global reach because it offers assets that Coinbase, for example, might not offer, and Hyperliquid will have to add anyway. So I think Binance is well ahead in terms of variety and its scale, and also global reach. And looking forward, the competitive landscape, what will it look like, say, in 6 months' time? Well, I think Hyperliquid will continue to grow organically. The token price will be buoyed by revenue-driven buybacks. Coinbase, well, its integration of derivatives, ramping derivatives offering, stablecoin incoming flush continues. And as for Binance, you've got gradual volume stabilization. Regulatory shifts may impact regional futures operations. So that is within a 6-month period. But looking at from 6 to 24 months up to 2 years, I think Hyperliquid will scale its users. It could also challenge mid-tier centralized derivatives in share and revenue yield. You're talking of the likes of your Bybit and the like who are in that field. I think Hyperliquid will start competing with those fast. Coinbase's success hinges on derivatives integration and US regulatory clarity. And as for Binance, within a 2-year time frame, I think it will solidify via product expansion, but faces increased compliance cost and possible segmentation. So we'll see where Binance goes. But Binance, the further you go up the time frame scale, the more challenging or the harder it gets to actually see what Binance will look like, because the field might have changed, and Binance, because of where it is compared to the likes of Coinbase, it might struggle to catch up, or regulations will also be used as barriers to entry into certain areas or certain markets. Watch the space. I think that is coming soon. Looking at over past 2-year period, I think we will start seeing hybrid ecosystems emerge where we will see centralized scrutiny combined by decentralized transparency. We're talking of order books, custody, and yield. Regulatory bifurcation, where US traders could stick with Coinbase, global markets diversity with Binance, and on-chain model. Token utility, the likes of Hyperliquid that return revenue to holders may outperform in loyalty and volume retention because people will go where they are given the most reward. That's just common sense. We are human. And my final takeaway on that is that Hyperliquid is a powerful niche challenger, providing decentralized virtual DEXs which can compete on performance, fees, and user alignment. Coinbase is leveraging fees and user alignment, though it's still small relative to incumbents. Whereas Coinbase is leveraging regulation and acquisition to pivot into derivatives but remains exposed to volatility. And on the other end, you got Binance, which dominates with unmatched scale, yet its centralized model is increasingly vulnerable to global regulator scrutiny. The future likely belongs to composability, so in my opinion. This is where traders will be demanding centralized speeds, decentralized transparency, and token-aligned economics. Each player must adapt. Hyperliquid will be scaling, Coinbase will be deepening its derivatives and compliance solutions, and Binance will be navigating jurisdictional pressure. So they are all facing different challenges, but they are competing within the same niche. Who is going to come up on top? Let us know in the comment section. Until the next one, this is FD for Centralized.tv. Bye for now.